everyone. Welcome to the Chasing Goals podcast. You're here with Nugget. I've got Katie online. I want everyone to give her a warm welcome. We're here for the third episode of the Chasing Goals podcast. How you going, Katie?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Ready to talk fitness, ready to talk everything you're kind of doing. I've been checking out your Instagram. We'll chuck up your handle when we kind of get this out and that sort of thing. But loving what you're doing. It looks like you're crushing those deadlifts, as we were talking about before we jumped on. Even the bench presses and all that sort of stuff they're looking good. I was having a quick look just before we popped on. But can you maybe tell us a little bit about your kind of, I guess, yourself and then your kind of introduction, how you kind of got into, I guess, powerlifting?
Oh my gosh, where do I even start? My name is Katie. I live in London and I'm at uni and everything at the moment.
Yep.
And I've been going to the gym since I'd say probably 2019ish.
Okay.
And basically the reason we'll just dive straight in.
Yeah, for sure.
So the reason I kind of got into it is from like 2014, 2015. Basically my digestive system kind of like stopped working, and then I just kind of stopped eating to try and manage that.
Yeah.
Because like every time I ate, like the food was just coming right back up, and it was just
really?
Developed a bad relationship with food because of that.
Yeah. That's not was it a medical thing? Did you work out what was happening?
Yeah, so it was basically, they did all these tests on me at the hospital because I was literally I was in and out so much, but they could never really work out what was actually the problem.
Yeah, okay.
And in the end, they just kind of labelled it like IBS as like a cop-out kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because they couldn't really work out what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard. And then obviously where I wasn't eating because I just couldn't keep food down and I just didn't want to eat because it was just uncomfortable. I was just losing weight so quick, and then
you'd probably be
in hospital for so long.
Yeah, and were you super I guess lethargic, and did you have no energy and that sort of thing, or was it not? Did that not kind of play a role?
It's weird because yes, I was definitely tired, but at the time in my head I was just so focused and caught up on the physical aspect of, I just feel so uncomfortable, I didn't really notice anything else. And when you don't eat, you kind of get this brain fog. So anything from 2014, 2015 up to 2017, I've just got I can't remember everything perfectly.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's just this massive brain fog because obviously I wasn't fueling my body properly, so it couldn't function as it should, I guess.
Yeah, I completely understand. This is off topic, but I used to play just local, we play AFL Aussie rules here. And I've had a lot of head knocks, concussions. So I kind of get that brain fog sometimes, especially under bright lights, I get that brain fog and it just annoys me so much. It's so I couldn't imagine what it's like to have it constantly for that. Yeah, that'd have been tough. So how did you how'd you come out of it?
So basically it kind of escalated from there. It kind of ended up just rolling into an eating disorder because I just had such a bad relationship with food. I just kind of just stopped eating it. I wasn't trying to lose weight or anything. I was just food makes me feel uncomfortable. And then in my head I was just I don't need it, which it sounds silly now because obviously you need food.
Yeah.
At the time.
But you would have been pretty young then too. So you wouldn't have been...
I think I was 15, 16.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's probably something that we could speak about. You probably, at that age, you're probably not learning about the importance of food. At schools, and they're probably not teaching you the importance of nutrition, fueling your body with correct foods and that sort of thing. At that age, you're probably well, what do I need? If it's making me sick, what's the point? Or if it's making me feel bad, why am I eating? That's crazy.
It's one of them things where you're just if I ignore it, it will go away. Obviously, that's not how it works.
Nah, definitely not. And I guess so after around when did you start kind of feeling a bit better?
So I'd say like I was in and out of like different kinds of hospital, like general hospital, and like I went to a psychiatric hospital like that specialised in eating disorders.
Yeah, okay.
And then I discharged myself from my third stay in, I'd say 2017, like December.
Yep.
And then I'd say from there, that's when my recovery, I'm doing air quotes because I thought I was in recovery, but like honestly, my true recovery didn't start until I moved to London last year.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I was kind of in like, I think they call it like quasi recovery. So like, yes, I gained all the weight back and like I was in air quotes again healthy.
Yeah.
But like I still like mentally I still had like so many like fear foods or whatever, which is it sounds like a weird concept to people who've never struggled with food.
Yeah.
But when you've had an eating disorder, like you build up all these food rules and then it just kind of just escalates. So I was only eating like again air quotes safe foods.
Okay. Safe foods that wouldn't make you sick. Is that what that means? Or safe foods that like you assume that are healthy?
Yeah, just foods that you just assume were like more healthy, or like for me, like where I developed the eating disorder and I started spending more time with people who like other people who had eating disorders when I was in hospital, I kind of picked up on their habits and their food rules.
Okay.
So then I started becoming aware of like calories and like fats and all of this. So like a big thing for me was like saturated fats, which there's nothing wrong with them in moderation. But in my head, I was so scared of them. Like that was the thing I struggled with more than like actual calories. Yeah. So that was kind of my focus.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then was it like, obviously it started off as, I guess, as a, I don't want to get too personal, obviously, but it started off as like you were getting I guess like you felt bad, but did it end up being like how you looked? Is that why you were also not eating the foods? Was that a part of it, or was it more just it was still making you sick inside?
So like my body kind of settled down a bit. Like I still had some like issues with digestion. Like nothing was really moving through as it should. So I was on a load of medication for that. But like I should have been fine. But it was like my body had like physically got better, but mentally I was kind of still left with like the scars of everything that happened. You get what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
and then I guess so. Then in 2019, actually it was just recently, but like. When did you kind of feel like, okay, now I've developed a better, and then kind of how did you come like about that in the last year or so? Was it through like lifting and like fueling your body, what you need, like recovery, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, so from when I started the gym in 2019, I've gained I think I gained like 10 kilos or something before that. And then I've gained like another 12, I think, since lifting. Okay. Because I just realised if I'm not fueling my body properly, I'm not going to be able to perform as well in the gym. Yeah. And that's one of the things that massively helps me see like food is fuel. Like it's so many other things as well, like rather than just fuel. But like to begin with, that's what started helping me. Because like if I like mass moves mass as well. So if I want to get stronger, I need to weigh more anyway. For sure. It will help with the progression and everything. Yeah. So I just dived into a weight gain journey. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear it's kind of coming out the other end, and you look good, and like as I was saying, the Instagram, I was just following. Yeah, you're looking like you're moving some weight, and which is quite impressive. But let's before we kind of get into like your training at the moment, maybe what kind of or who is like your kind of role models, or who kind of do you look up to, or that sort of thing, as you've kind of moved into the powerlifting type game? Yeah, so when I moved to London, like it's not like your traditional role models, but the thing that kind of like spurred on my recovery, like this isn't necessarily like powerlifting yet. Yeah. I'll get to that in a second. The people who helped me, I've got like a couple of friends who literally they called it as they see it, and like they've come from like a similar eating disorder background to me. Yep. And they just called me out for everything. They were like, "Hun, you're still not healthy. You need to like sort yourself out." So then I went on a quotes again bulk. So I was like, I'll just gain more weight. Like it's bulking season, all of this, because like it was winter, like just standard. And then finished my bulk like March this year. Yep. And then I was like, now I'm gonna go do a cut. And I was like, no, because now I actually look healthy. Because every time I gained weight, I thought I was then healthy, but looking back, I still was so small.
Yeah.
When I moved to London, I was so lean and everything, and then these girls, they called me out for it. They're like, "You're not healthy."
Yeah.
And like, so I saw the freedom they had with food and exercise and like just everything like that, and I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
So like they kind of inspired me for that.
For
and,
sure.
Like also, my sister also inspired me.
Yeah.
Because she's not into lifting, but she'll literally come back and just be like just casually say like, "Oh, I just ran 14 miles." Like. Just really casually, like, as you do.
As you do. 14 miles, what's that about?
Yeah.
Do you know how many Ks that is? That'd be like 22 or something, wouldn't it? 21 maybe. That's crazy. It'd be like a half marathon, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's a lot, yeah.
Like, she's mad. But like, I'd see her like get excited with food and everything, and I'd just be like, I want that. So like, it kind of just gave me the extra kick, and I was just like, yeah, let's go for it.
That's awesome. I think, I guess, like having those friends that kind of maybe have experienced similar sort of stuff that you have, and seeing them maybe come out the other side and seeing them so free with food, I guess that could have helped. Like you've seen, they might have been in a similar situation, they've come out the other side of it, would obviously be a big inspiration, I guess, for you.
Yeah, definitely. So like in my head, I was like, right, this is it. Like this is just gonna be my life forever. Like I'm never gonna get out of this.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's gone on for so much of like my teenage, like young adult years. Like I just thought it was like I was stuck or trapped.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there was a way out, and that if my friends can do it, I can do it too. So I just went for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then so we moved. Like, so what kind of got you in, I guess, into powerlifting? How did you kind of make that transition to go, oh, I want to lift real heavy?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny one because I'm sure some people like go into it thinking, yeah, I'm going to do powerlifting, but I kind of like fell into it.
Okay.
So I was really like from 2019, I was just really enjoying getting stronger on my lifts, just like really challenging myself. And then, oh my gosh, for the first year I was lifting, I fell in love with bench and deadlifts so much.
Yeah.
And then squats,
not so much. Not so much.
I just didn't squat for the first year because I hated it so much. And then like it kind of got to the stage where my bench and my squat were like kind of the same. And I was like, I'm not going to be that person.
I can't look at myself if that happens.
Squats back in. I don't want to be that person. And then one of my friends at college, like she was really into powerlifting scene and everything. And then she was just like, you should compete. And I was like, maybe. And then like all of lockdown happened, and then at some point this year I just decided, you know what, let's go for it. And then one of the people who coaches, like he's a PT, he coaches some of my friends, turned around and was like, there's this comp, like you should enter. And then I did. And then I competed in July. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that. It looked like, was it a good experience? How was that, I guess? How was the experience for you, like going into, obviously like, training up to it and then kind of seeing the results at the end? How was that whole experience?
It was absolute roller coaster. Like training was going so well. Like I was getting like more and more excited, but like throughout the whole time I was just like in my head I had a constant battle of I'm not going to be good enough like compared to the others competing. Like because I'm kind of a perfectionist, so the thought of not doing my best or not like coming out, like I'm quite competitive as well, so I always want to win. I didn't want to like let myself down, if you know what I mean. Like,
for sure.
Know that I could do well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just had that constant battle in my head, but like I just stuck with it.
Yeah.
And then oh my gosh! And then the week before my competition, I caught COVID.
Oh no, COVID strikes again.
So I was literally crying.
Yeah.
I walked up to my parents, like obviously at a distance, and I was just like just crying, like in between like sobs. I was just like, I can't compete.
Oh no.
And then like I was testing like once or twice every single day in the build up, and then literally like a day or two before the test finally came back negative. So I just went like straight into the gym and was just like trying to gauge how heavy I could actually lift. Which you're meant to dial back training before comp, but I was just like, I need to know I'm actually still strong.
I was going to say, how were you feeling? Did COVID rock you? Like, were you like moving into into the comp? Were you feeling like fatigued or anything like that, or?
Yeah, like I was so tired, like I'd get out of breath so quick. Like I was not in a good way. But like when you want something so bad, I was like, I've got my singlet, I've got my knee sleeves, I've got everything. Like there is no way I am
you're
not
ready
doing
to go.
this. Yeah, because everyone's like, "Are you sure you should be competing?" I was like, "There's no way I'm not."
That's awesome.
So yeah, I just showed up on comp day and I was like, "We're gonna send it."
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I think with powerlifting, I guess you're not really obviously you're competing against people, but you're obviously focusing on your own goals and getting better yourself. If that it's kind of a
100%.
Isn't that right? I guess with power, I've never done it, but I'd imagine you're probably competing against maybe your past performances.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you feel, or is it like, no, this guy just deadlifted, or this girl just deadlifted 130 kilos, I'm deadlifting 132?
Yeah, so this is one thing I absolutely love about the powerlifting community. Like, it's literally just you versus you when you're there, and then everyone gets so excited for everyone else's attempts. So you'll be cheering others on, and if they lift heavier than you, you're like, yes, like you go, like you're so strong, like amazing.
Yeah.
And then they'll do the same for you when it's your go.
Yeah.
But in my head, like you're literally, it's like a whole day event, but it goes by so quick, because if you're not waiting to lift or lifting, you are eating or like refueling or resting to go again.
Yeah.
Or like warming up, and then you're just straight into your next lift. So that you don't really have time to stop and compare yourself to other people, because it's just bam, 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 like just going through it. Yeah,
for sure. That's awesome. It's good. I guess that would make, I guess, a lot of people come back and stick with the sport. That sort of like camaraderie and like friendship and that sort of thing, but like everyone wanting everyone to do well and, be their best person. So how was the trainer? How long was obviously you got sick that last week, but how did that training block, or however we want to say it, how long was it? And kind of how did you structure your training to kind of, I guess you're obviously focusing on the three, at least you've got the three. You've got your deadlift, squat, and bench press, so you kind of know what your goals are and what you need to get better at. How did you structure that through? Was it like a 16-week kind of thing, or was it how long was the kind of lead in?
So I didn't have a coach or anything, so it's probably not like the most traditional run up to it, like because I was just programming for myself.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, where did you kind of learn all this sort of stuff? I guess because obviously you've been doing it since 2019. Is it all just on like online, YouTube, this, Instagram, TikTok? Like, how did you kind of, Yeah,
so it's kind of a mix of all of those things. Like, it was just a mix of like trial and error. Like, I look back at the things I was doing when I first started lifting and I just want to cry. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, it's a mess. I think we've all got to start somewhere. So.
Oh, for sure. It's just about fun to, like, just about getting in there and doing it. Like, you might look silly, but if you just get in there and start, I think that's the best way to do it, best way to learn. And then once you kind of, obviously it gets intimidating going to like big gyms and that sort of thing for some people. But hopefully if you get, there's, a couple of people there that might help you out, or, that's always.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I always did. Like, I was probably annoying everyone, but I'd always just be like, oh, why are you doing that? And just asking like, oh, can you like help with my form? Like, can you give me tips? Can you spot me? Like, always trying to learn from the people that I guess, and only the people, like the big people who like scare other people. I was like, no, they've been doing this for years. Like, they know, like, I mean, some of them don't know what they're doing, but most of them do. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I guess it's one of those things like, if you've been doing it for so long, you're going to have results, but you might not be doing it perfectly. Yeah, exactly. But if you're consistent, you're still, you know what I mean. You're still going to get it. You're still going to get some sort of results. So how just so we can kind of like, let's get into like the training type section of it. How did you kind of? Well, how many days a week were you training? Like, what was it? Were you splitting it up into? Because I've never powerlifted, so I wouldn't really know how you would do your splits. But how'd you kind of split it up?
So I think with most powerlifters, they kind of do like a bit like full body kind of training.
Yeah.
But I still love the style of like bodybuilding and like the whole like upper lower split. Like, I love the challenge like of just fully going in on your muscles.
Yeah.
So I kind of did upper lower days. but I was benching 3 days a week. So I'd like on one of my leg days, I'd be benching.
Like a bench as well. Yeah.
And then I was doing like one like normal squat per week, and then one like tempo squat, and then just deadlifted once because the fatigue was a bit mad from that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I just add like accessories and just like other things around that to structure the workouts.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess when we're doing our, our deadlifts or our squats and but are we keeping those rep ranges low, or is that like in like that 1 to 5 range, or where are you kind of putting that, or are you doing maybe one session 1 to 5 and then doing maybe a bit of like hypertrophy stuff at the back end of the week, or how's it? Are you staying in those low rep ranges when you
Yeah, so for like the SBD, like all of those lifts, I was kind of going from
what do we call it? SDB. Is that squat, deadlift, bench?
So squat, bench, deadlift.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
SBD. Is it SBD?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. It's a fast way to say it.
Yeah. So all of those were like 1 to 6 rep range, and then yeah. So for example, in the block before the competition, I was doing I do like 1 times 3 or deadlifts, and then I drop the weight, and then do like 1 times 5 or like whatever, just to like build it up, and then just to get the volume in.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And then with the accessories, are you doing stuff that's I guess you are, but like complementary to those like. So you're doing like tricep extensions, all that sort of thing for your bench, and hammy curls for whatever, quad extensions, I guess. What was the kind of
a lot of like lunges, a lot of lunges, like a lot.
So many lunges.
So many, like every single leg day there was some variation of lunges, like split squats, which I love to hate because they burn so much, but like it's in a good way. Yeah, just like hammering my triceps, pull-ups as well to strengthen like the upper back for deadlifts.
Yeah. Like
just such like variety just to fully get it in.
Yeah. And I guess would that be something you'd like kind of recommend to people if anyone's listening who wants to kind of start? Obviously they're the 3 main ones. So you'd probably want to be doing those the SBD, as we call them in the business.
Yeah, you're in the know.
I'm in the know. Would you recommend like getting, because it's obviously a skill as well. Like it's a skill that you want to perfect. So would you recommend maybe like 2 times a week would be a good, like for each kind of one, like for bench at least 2 times a week, deadlifts 2 times a week. Obviously you said you had the like the, I guess was it like CNS with the deadlift? Was it just kind of fatigue because it just took so much out of you?
Yeah, because like where it's such heavy loads and where it uses so many different muscle groups, like it takes a lot more out of you than bench, for example. Because with bench, like it's mostly just your chest. Obviously, you've got a bit of like leg drive going on as well.
Yeah.
But like it's a lot, like you can do that a lot more volume, and like to improve bench as well. Like there's loads of studies on it. Like you can get away with more volume on that. So that's why you can train like bench 2, 3, or even more times a week. Yeah, for sure. Like I know one guy who does bench like 5 times a week, which I don't know how he recovers from that, but it works for him.
I guess he's probably, or hopefully he's probably built up to that, you know. You probably just, if you haven't done bench before, don't go out there and start doing it 5 times a week.
Yeah, if you're beginning, definitely don't. Your arms are just like full.
Yeah, well that was your first comp, that one you just did, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah. So what is planned, and what are kind of the goals moving forward? I guess over the next year, or where are you at with your training at the moment and moving forward?
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to compete again because I'm going to be chasing the high from that comp for the rest of my life. Like it was the best feeling.
So you're hooked.
I don't know if it's caffeine or sugar or like just the heavy lifting, but something about it. I need that again. So yeah, I was going to try and compete at the end of this year, but basically the comp I've entered into, they put me on a wait list because the federation I compete with is IPF, which is like International Powerlifting Federation. They divide everyone up into divisions. So I'm in Greater London division, and the comp I was going to go into was the Southwest Division.
Okay.
So I'd be like a guest lifter for that one.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, they prioritise people from their own group, so they just whacked them in the wait list. But like, I think I'm just gonna leave it because I want to know that I can, like, exactly when I'm competing, rather than like them turning around a month before and being like, yeah, you can, or like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, because that's right. You need to have that
next year.
You want to have that kind of date in mind, don't you? So you can kind of work back from there and kind of plan how you kind of like set up your training and
exactly.
So are you kind of, what do you do like at the moment? I guess, are you just kind of what's the during a power lifter's kind of not off time, but when you've got nothing really on the horizon, what are you working on? What's the kind of what are the goals now when you go into your sessions and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, so the block I've done like in the last, I think it's just over a month now. I'm just coming to the end of it. It was to just like even out some imbalances because my left leg was like slightly weaker. So I've just been doing like a lot of single leg stuff.
Yeah.
And like now we're going to go into more of like just build up a bit more muscle, and then after that block, it's going to go into, well, the plan is to go into like a strength block, and then because where I'm seeing I'm not competing until the next year now, I have a lot more time to build the foundations.
For sure.
And then just like start adding more weight on the bar. Then I've got some big numbers I want to hit next year. So
what are the goals? What are the goals? Because we're all about chasing goals here. That's the podcast, chasing goals. What are the goals for the lifts?
So I've got it on my vision board right in front of me because I'm just like, if I see it every day, it might trick my mind and body into be like, yeah, they're not heavy.
You know what? I was just listen to a podcast. I'll send you the link after this, but it's called I think it's the Huberman Lab, and they'll literally they was literally just talking about vision boards, and they were talking about if you add, like, get the vision boards are great, but then whilst you're doing the vision board, what obstacles might you face during this time that might kind of hinder you to achieve your goals? So if, let's say something happens, if you've kind of already noted that down, it when it comes, you're ready to face that kind of challenge. So when it comes, you're not they obviously explain it way better than what I just did. I only listened to it just before this podcast.
No, I get what you mean.
But I'll send you the link. But it was really it was cool. It was a real cool like little chat they were doing, and he's great. He does like all like in depth talks with like scientists about fitness and ice bars and all that sort of stuff.
Oh no, I love stuff like that. So that'd be good.
Yeah, I'll shoot that through you. But yeah, that's awesome. I guess, are you set at a certain weight in powerlifting, or is it like a 73 kilo comp, or or it doesn't really matter what you kind of go into a comp? Does that make sense?
So there's like different weight categories, and I'm kind of like right between two.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can kind of either like cut down to the lower one or just like gain a bit more and get to the higher one. So I'm just trying to gain a bit more again.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't, because it's like 63 kg or 69 kg, and I'm like 65, 66.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get up to like 67, 68 kilos, and then I should be like at a good point to be competitive, or a bit more competitive in that category.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Nah, that's awesome. And I guess, did you have anything else before we kind of, I guess, wrap up? I think it's been a great chat. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about from your end? What else is planned, or anything that you might, like any tips that you might have for anyone that's kind of getting into powerlifting or getting into the gym that might help them on their journey, or just anything you wanted to say about that? No stress if you don't, but
I guess one thing that's really been solidified in my head recently is have patience. Like, everything, it takes time, and it's so easy to see like these 6-week transformations and just think, oh, I can literally build like so much muscle in such a short amount of time. And like, the reality is that's years and years of work. Like, that's not just an overnight thing. Like, some of the transformations might just be they've dropped loads of weight because they've been eating like ridiculously low food like for 6 weeks. But like, be patient, like take your time with it and make sure your form's good, make sure you're getting your nutrition right, take it like slow and steady, because in reality it might not seem like it, but you have your whole life to build whatever you want to do. Like every single day is a learning process, it's opportunity. Like just be grateful for every single day, always like stay focused on your goals, like keep putting the work in, because you will get where you want to go. Like even with recovery, if you're struggling with like eating or whatever other mental health issues you are dealing with, if you stay consistent and you look after your body and you start diving into your mind, working out, like just learning how it works, because that's what helped me, like just understanding your mind or body a bit more, then it will help you get to where you want to go. You've just got to, again, be patient, like be consistent and just don't give up.
Yeah, that was awesome. You should be a motivational speaker. Chuck that on your Instagram, motivational speaker as well.
I
will. But it's so true. And those 6 to 8 week those challenges are just, even if someone does it and it all goes well, what's happening afterwards? Like I feel, for me anyway, like fitness and exercise, it's like a lifetime thing. I want to do. I want to be I'm 30 now, so I'm kind of thinking like I want to be able to play basketball or something until I'm 50. I'm not going to go dunking, obviously, but I want to be able to do that sort of stuff. So that was great. I guess just before we kind of finish up, you mentioned that your like food intake and all that sort of stuff. Do you? I watched one that you don't actually count your calories, but how do you kind of manage your protein intake and all that sort of thing? Obviously, you're training. So how many times would you train? And I guess then into recovery, you're probably going to need a lot more food, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm training 5 times a week. And then food-wise, I'm still kind of new to intuitive eating. So I'm still working out how that works for me. And obviously, like where I tracked for so long, like in my head, I kind of know like protein, like all the macros and stuff. So I know how much I should be having. But it's just like getting over the barrier of like, I tend to overestimate how much is in food. So, but like literally over the last couple of weeks, I've worked out just eat more than I think I should. And then it's literally my weight's staying pretty solid now. So it's just doing that. But you just, over time, you got to just change things so you work out like what actually works for you and your body. Yeah. Like obviously everyone's gonna be different, but like I know roughly how much I was eating before, and just transferring that to what I do now. And
I guess it's like what people's goals are if they're looking to lose the weight. It's kind of like if you are, I guess, doing I've never counted calories ever in my life because it just doesn't suit me. I just don't do that. But I guess if you are doing that, it could be good that if let's say you eat 1,800 calories and you're sticking to that. Let's say you stick to that for 3 weeks and your body weight doesn't move. You probably I might be like, that's kind of like a maintenance calories for me. I might need to drop that a little bit if I want to get into a calorie deficit, or it might be the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is a good way to kind of track where you're at with your if you want to gain weight, lose weight, that sort of thing. So it's always good to count calories. That's a lie. I tried to do it when I was younger and I just couldn't stick to it. I was so bad, especially on the weekends. That was really really good.
Tracking calories can be like, it's a really good tool for like educating people about like what's actually in food. But then when it comes to it, it's not always the most practical thing for like your everyday person. Like if you're not competing or you don't have really specific goals, there's other ways you can reach your goals. Yeah. And like I think especially coming from like an eating disorder background, you want to try and like dial back your control over food. Like if you can't track in a healthy way, because like for me, I love numbers. I love a good number, but like I get so obsessed and caught up over it. And I find it more satisfying to chase like heavier weights at the gym, like increasing numbers that way rather than, oh no, I'm like 5 calories over. Like for me, that would just really get in my head. I guess that's just coming back to knowing who you are and what you want, isn't it? So if you know exactly. So
Yeah, no, well, it was. Thanks so much for coming on, Katie. It's been great, and I saw this podcast. It's called All the Smoke. Two basketball players. They dominate. They're great. But at the end of the show, they always ask their guests. They said, "Who would be good, or who do you know that would be good for this podcast?" But the rule is, what you say, who you say is you have to try and get them on the podcast as well. So it'd be great to get who's a good powerlifter? I don't even know. Steph, is it Steph Cohen?
I wish I had contacted her. That'd be insane.
I was about to say, like, you can't just say Steph Cohen when you don't know her.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm like, yeah, just my girl Steph Cohen.
But yeah, if you honestly, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but if you do know someone, who, like, obviously we talk. It's one about fitness as well, but I'm also keen to explore like business as well. So if you know anyone, do you have anyone on the top of your head, or have I put you on the spot?
I do actually. So she's literally one of my biggest. Like, she trained in my gym back home, and she is ridiculously strong. Like, honestly, she's just insane. Like, she's a PT. She's got her own business, trying to like empower women and everything. Like, honestly, she's like one of the people I look up to. And she was there at my comp as well, which was actually insane. I loved her. But she's called Jess.
And we're getting Jess on the podcast. But yeah, honestly, thanks so much for coming on. It's been great to chat, and maybe in a year's time we'll pop back on and see where your kind of journey has taken you in the next year. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Bye.